I want to know how much longer the owner's going to watch this crap, because the fans have had it. We deserve better. You're worried more about your stadium than you are your football team. That's the perception, Jimmy. Is Andrew really doing this, or the Haslams have their favorites? But, Chris, at one point last week, I text Chops and I go, Myles Garrett's running the coaching search because he wants Jim Schwartz.
The Cleveland Browns are imploding again, and at this point, it feels painfully familiar. While teams all across the NFL are making fast, decisive moves, locking down championship-caliber coaches and laying real foundations for the future, the Browns are stuck doing what they've mastered over decades. Overthinking everything, meddling in their own process, and quietly setting themselves up for yet another public failure. This isn't bad luck anymore. It's a pattern, and the rest of the league sees it coming a mile away. Tony Rizzo has finally reached his breaking point, and honestly, so have a lot of Browns fans. This isn't just frustration talking, this is exhaustion from watching the same mistakes get recycled every few years. According to Rizzo, this coaching search isn't about grabbing just any recognizable name and hoping for the best. This is about finding the right coach, one who can develop a franchise quarterback, stabilize the locker room, and finally put an end to decades of embarrassment.
Teams are hiring. The Falcons got their coach. The Titans hired. They're hiring all these coaches. What is taking so long? The Browns have been working on this for 3 weeks. What's going on? Is Andrew really running this, or is Jimmy using Andrew to do what he wants to do, the owner? That's a legitimate question. We've seen the meddling in the past. Is Andrew really doing this, or the Haslams have their favorites?
And right now, the Browns are fumbling that mission in spectacular fashion. Let's paint the picture clearly. 10 NFL teams entered this offseason needing a head coach. 10. That means competition is fierce, and hesitation gets punished immediately. This league doesn't wait for anyone, and if you blink, the best candidates are gone. Teams know this, which is why they move fast, trusted their evaluations, and pulled the trigger. Meanwhile, Cleveland is still circling the runway, burning fuel, unsure if they even want to land. This offseason has turned into a full-blown feeding frenzy. Franchises are scrambling to land the next transformational leader. Everyone wants the next Ben Johnson, the next Mike Vrabel, the next coach who can flip a broken culture overnight and give fans real hope. And while those dominoes are falling across the league, the Browns are 3 weeks into their search and still conducting interviews like it's a college internship process. Look around the NFL. Jeff Hafley is already in Miami. Robert Saleh landed with the Titans. Jim Harbaugh is heading to the Giants. Even Kevin Stefanski. Yes, the same Kevin Stefanski Cleveland just moved on from didn't stay unemployed long. He was quickly scooped up by the Falcons, proving once again that the league still values competence, even if Cleveland struggles to recognize it in real time. The coaching market is moving fast, and Cleveland is standing still. Every day they wait, the pool shrinks, leverage disappears, and desperation grows louder. Other franchises are already assembling staffs, installing systems, and mapping out off-season plans. The Browns, meanwhile, are stuck in the corner, paralyzed by indecision, internal politics, and power struggles that never seem to go away. Rizzo didn't sugarcoat where Cleveland stands in this race. When you stack them against teams like the Bills, Steelers, Raiders, Ravens, and Cardinals, all searching or recently filled positions, Cleveland isn't exactly turning heads. They aren't the destination job agents are hyping up behind closed doors. They're the one candidates side-eye while checking who really runs the show. And that's where Rizzo truly lit the fuse. He asked the question every Browns fan has whispered, argued about, and lost sleep over. Is Andrew Berry actually running this coaching search, or is Jimmy Haslam once again pulling the strings behind the scenes?
Or keep going. Who do you want? Who do you like? Who do you want? I don't know. Folks, I don't know. I just know this. I don't like the process already. I don't. I don't. Do you have to keep Jim Schwartz? Do you not have to keep Jim Schwartz? Is he really in play for head coach, or is this just they want him around as a DC? Is he really that valuable? I don't.
That question cuts deep because history suggests the answer Browns fans fear the most. When ownership meddles, when processes get hijacked, and when ego trumps football logic, this organization spirals. Fans have seen it before, players have lived it, and coaches have paid the price. And now, with a young quarterback's future hanging in the balance, Cleveland cannot afford another power struggle disguised as patience. He wants Jim Schwartz, right? That's not exaggeration, and it's definitely not hot radio noise. This is a legitimate concern rooted in years of documented behavior from Jimmy Haslam himself. Browns fans aren't making this up. And Tony Rizzo didn't pull this out of thin air. History backs it up, and that history is ugly. This is the same owner who cycled through head coach after head coach, burning through leadership like it was disposable. The same owner who helped create an organizational reputation so toxic that serious coaching candidates pause before even returning a call from Berea. Around the league, Cleveland isn't viewed as patient or collaborative. It's viewed as unstable and intrusive. That reputation didn't come from nowhere. Haslam's so-called collaborative approach has always sounded good in press conferences, but fans know what it really means. It means football decisions don't stay in the football building. It means ownership fingerprints end up on roster moves, coaching hires, and staff decisions that should never leave the hands of football professionals. Writing the checks doesn't mean calling the plays, but Cleveland keeps blurring that line. Now here's where things get even more concerning. The Browns are potentially lining up a franchise-altering draft moment, possibly holding a top 5 pick that could define the next decade. This should be a clean, decisive, forward-thinking coaching search. Instead, reports suggest the process is already compromised. The Browns appear determined to retain Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator, or worse, are seriously considering him for the head coaching role itself. That approach sends the wrong message immediately. Elite offensive minds aren't lining up to be told who they must keep on staff before they even get the job. That's not how modern NFL power structures work. You don't attract innovators by handcuffing them before they step into the building. Let's talk honestly about Jim Schwartz, because this is where Cleveland's logic completely falls apart. Schwartz is a solid defensive coordinator. Nobody disputes that. His unit competed hard, even while being hung out to dry by an offense that couldn't stay on the field. The defense fought, adjusted, and showed toughness. But here's the uncomfortable truth.
You have the worst offense in the league. Your GM screwed this quarterback thing up like I've never seen. In my life, I've never seen anything like it. Kids that play Madden could have done a better job.
That defense went 5-12 this season. 5 wins, 12 losses. That matters. Championship organizations don't cling to coordinators from losing seasons just because they feel familiar. They don't sell continuity when the results don't justify it. And here's the bigger issue. You don't attract elite head coaching candidates by dictating staffing choices up front. That's not collaboration, that's control. Coaches around the league see that and immediately back away. Kevin Stefanski knows this story all too well. He coached with restrictions. He coached within preset parameters. Boom, there it is. Organizational guardrails that limited flexibility and creativity. And what did that produce? 2 playoff appearances in 5 seasons with rosters that should have competed for much more. Now he's gone, and the cycle starts again. This is the same restrictive environment that has poisoned multiple coaching regimes in Cleveland. Different faces, same dysfunction. And Rizzo sees it clearly. The Browns aren't learning from their past, they're repeating it step by step. Now let's be clear about one thing. If Myles Garrett wants Jim Schwartz retained, that opinion matters. Garrett is the franchise cornerstone. His voice carries weight, and it should. But here's the line you cannot cross. You do not let player preferences dictate your head coaching hire. You hire the best coach available. You give that coach real authority. You let them build their staff, shape their vision, and cook without interference. Anything less is setting the next regime up to fail. This might be Rizzo's most important point, and it's getting buried in all the Schwartz noise. The NFL is changing fast, and Cleveland looks stuck in reverse. Explosive. That's the word that defines winning football right now. Look at the teams still playing deep into January. They aren't grinding out slow, clock-draining drives. They're dynamic. They're aggressive. They score in bunches. The Browns finished 30th in points per game this season. 30th. That's unacceptable in today's NFL. You can have a strong defense, and Cleveland didn't even have an elite one, but it won't matter if you can't score. Yet this coaching search seems focused on defensive continuity instead of offensive innovation. That's backwards thinking. That's organizational malpractice. When you're preparing to invest a top 5 pick in a quarterback, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or another prospect who falls into Cleveland's lap, that young quarterback needs structure, vision, and offensive leadership. He needs a coach who prioritizes scoring, spacing, and development. They need Kyle Shanahan-level creativity, Sean McVay-style innovation, and Ben Johnson-type aggression right now. That's the standard in today's NFL, not a luxury. That's what develops quarterbacks, stresses defenses, and keeps you competitive in January. Instead, what does Cleveland seem to be drifting toward? Potentially another defensive-minded head coach, boxed in by predetermined coordinators and buried under organizational restrictions. That's not progress. That's regression. And then there's Todd Monken getting a second interview. Let that sink in. Monken just spent 2 seasons as Cleveland's offensive coordinator, watching the offense fall apart in real time. He was there during the Deshaun Watson implosion. He saw the chaos up close. He lived through the inconsistency, the stagnation, and the weekly confusion. Is that really the answer?
I need offense. Yes, I know all the teams, three of the four teams left are defense and defensive coaches, I get it. But you still have to have an offense. Don't overlook that. And don't poo-poo that. You need to be able to have a team that could score points anytime they touch the ball. Not 12-play drives. You got to be.
Tony Rizzo doesn't sound convinced, and Browns fans shouldn't be either. This isn't personal, it's practical. The results speak loudly. Recycling familiar faces from broken systems doesn't magically fix the structural problems. It just keeps the cycle spinning. And here's what makes this entire situation so infuriating. The blueprint is sitting right in front of Cleveland. Teams across football are following it successfully, and the proof is undeniable. Look at what Curt Cignetti just did at Indiana. He took over a struggling program, installed his system, brought his staff, and demanded full buy-in from day one. No compromises, no committees, no predetermined assistance forced on him. What happened? He won a national championship in his first year. That's what clarity and authority look like. Look at Mike McDonald in Seattle. In one season, he completely reshaped the Seahawks' identity. Clear vision, full autonomy, and immediate accountability. Or look at Dan Campbell in Detroit. He walked into a franchise that was a national punchline and turned it into a legitimate contender. Why? Because ownership stepped back and allowed football people to make football decisions. That's the common denominator in every successful turnaround. Ownership gets out of the way. Coaches are empowered. Systems are installed without interference. The Browns, meanwhile, are doing the exact opposite. 3 weeks of interviews, multiple rounds with the same candidates, constant whispers about organizational preferences and player influence. This isn't diligence, it's death by committee. Browns fans have seen this movie before and they know how it ends. What's going on? Rizzo asked. The answer is simple. What's always going on in Cleveland is going on in Cleveland. Organizational dysfunction dressed up as thoroughness. Indecision disguised as patience. Control masked as collaboration. Rizzo also touched on something critical that's playing out across the NFL right now. Coaches are getting fired because of bad rosters, not bad coaching. And that matters more than people want to admit. Mike Tomlin never had a losing season in Pittsburgh, despite cycling through Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields at quarterback. Sean McDermott consistently made the playoffs in Buffalo, even when the roster around Josh Allen was flawed and thin in key spots. These coaches weren't perfect, but they maximized what they had. Yet across the league, coaches are being scapegoated for front office mistakes. And now, those same decision-makers are leading new coaching searches like nothing happened. Cleveland fits that pattern perfectly. The Browns have serious roster problems. Deshaun Watson's contract is an albatross. The offensive line needs retooling. The receiver room lacks consistency. These are construction issues, not coaching miracles waiting to happen. But instead of accountability at the top, the Browns keep cycling through coaches and hoping someone can work magic with flawed pieces. That's not strategy, that's desperation. It's insanity. And yes, it's the textbook definition of insanity. Doing the same thing repeatedly while expecting different results. Now let's bring this full circle because this is why everything happening right now matters so much. The Browns are likely picking in the top 5 of the 2026 NFL Draft. That's franchise reset territory. This isn't about patching holes anymore. This is about a real reset, a clean slate, a chance to finally stop throwing money at broken solutions. Shedeur Sanders could be there. Other elite quarterback prospects will absolutely be there. Cleveland has a rare opportunity to start fresh with a young, talented signal caller and build the right way from the ground up. But here's the hard truth. You cannot develop a franchise quarterback without the right coaching infrastructure. You cannot do it with chaos. You cannot do it with predetermined coordinators, unclear authority, and owner meddling. Look at Baker Mayfield. In Cleveland, he was shuffled, restricted, and constantly reset. In Tampa Bay, with stability and proper coaching, he looks like a completely different quarterback. Look at Sam Darnold finally thriving in Minnesota after years of dysfunction with the Jets. Same player, different environment. What makes this situation even more maddening is the complete lack of urgency. While the Browns are still debating, circling back, and holding third and fourth interviews, the rest of the league is already moving forward with purpose. Other teams aren't waiting around for perfect conditions, they're building staffs, installing systems, and preparing aggressively for the draft. The Falcons already have Kevin Stefanski implementing his offense and shaping their identity. The Dolphins have Jeff Hafley deep into building his defensive structure. These teams aren't guessing, they're executing. They're weeks ahead of Cleveland, and in the NFL, weeks matter more than people want to admit. This league is built on razor-thin margins. One missed installation period, one delayed hire, one wasted off-season week can have ripple effects that last the entire season. While other franchises are stacking advantages, the Browns are falling behind before the race even officially starts. And here's where it gets dangerous. If Cleveland drafts a quarterback in April, that rookie will walk into an organization still trying to figure out who it is, still assembling a coaching staff, still navigating internal politics and unclear leadership structures. That's chaos, not development. That is not how you set up a young quarterback for success in today's NFL. That's how you rush progress, confuse priorities, and repeat the same mistakes that have derailed past rebuilds. What makes Tony Rizzo's commentary hit so hard is the mix of frustration and forced optimism in his voice. He's not rooting against this process. He's not stirring drama for attention. He's a Cleveland guy through and through. He wants this to work. He desperately wants to believe that this time will be different. But you can hear it when he talks. The doubt is there. The hesitation is there. He's seen this movie before and he knows exactly how it usually ends. Browns fans know that feeling too. That sinking realization that the warning signs are piling up again. Cleveland fans deserve better. They deserve an organization that makes bold, decisive moves instead of hiding behind endless evaluations. They deserve ownership that trusts its football people and understands when to step back. They deserve leadership that values clarity over control. They deserve a coaching search that prioritizes finding the best candidate, not the safest one, not the most politically convenient one, not the one who fits internal preferences or keeps everyone comfortable. Instead, they're getting the same old Browns formula: overthinking, overcomplicating, delaying decisions until the best options are gone, and eventually under-delivering when the results matter most. The Cleveland Browns are at a crossroads right now. This is one of those moments that defines the next decade, not just the next season. They can either learn from their past failures and conduct a coaching search grounded in football merit, offensive innovation, and quarterback development, or they can continue down the same path of organizational dysfunction that has defined this franchise for 20 years. The choice is right in front of them, and the signs couldn't be clearer. Right now, all evidence points in the wrong direction. The prolonged search, the Jim Schwartz situation, the lack of offensive urgency, the whispers of owner involvement, the hesitation to commit to a clear vision. It's all stacking up into a familiar pattern Browns fans know too well. This isn't one red flag, it's a collection of them. And when you put them together, they point toward another slow-moving disaster in the making. When that top 5 pick rolls around in April, when Shedeur Sanders or another franchise quarterback is sitting there on the board, Cleveland better hope they've finally built the right infrastructure. Because drafting a quarterback without stability, without offensive leadership, and without organizational alignment is how promising careers get wasted. Quarterbacks don't fail in a vacuum. Organizations fail them. And Cleveland's history proves that more than almost any franchise in the league. Tony Rizzo sees it. Cleveland fans see it. Executives, agents, and coaches around the NFL see it too. The reputation is already out there, and it's not flattering. The real question is this: do the Browns see it? Or are they too busy looking in the mirror, seeing only what they want to see, and ignoring the dysfunction staring right back at them? 3 weeks into this search, there are still more questions than answers. More doubt than confidence. More evidence that some franchises struggle to learn from their own history. The coaching carousel keeps spinning. The Browns keep stumbling. And Cleveland fans keep paying the price. Same pattern, same hesitation, same consequences. Until something fundamentally changes at the top, this cycle won't stop. And right now, nothing about this search suggests real change is coming.